Hey, welcome to CEO Check-In. Today is an exciting day because we're getting ready for the $1 Million Women Summit. It's happening tomorrow. If you don't have your ticket, it's not too late. You can register at mdwsummit.org. We're going to have 2 days of keynotes, panelists, learning how to get our businesses to 1 million in revenues, and meeting other high growth women from across the country. And I'm so excited today to bring on our guest, Chanel Christoff-Davis, who has built a multi-million-dollar company. She's based out in Texas, and I know her thanks to a conference that I went to where I met Brittany Stovall, who's going to be one of our fabulous keynotes this year. I can't wait to bring you on, Chanel. Welcome, Evan and Alyssa. Oh, and Brittany's on with us too. Fantastic. We're so excited for your keynote. We also want to announce some winners today. Alyssa on my team is going to bring me the winners of our social media competition. We had people posting about the summit over the last couple of days, and we have some winners who I will be announcing on CEO Check-In today. But before we dive in, I always like to do my Go Big tip. And my Go Big tip today is about networking. So when you're looking to scale up your business, it's really important that you embrace intentional networking. That's a term that refers to doing networking in a way that is to pull you forward professionally. Most of us are pretty good at 2 of the 3 types of networking that we need to do. But the one that we often leave out is the strategic networking. We're pretty good at the personal networking, having a bunch of folks we can have drinks with or call on or do Zooms with during the past year. And we're pretty good at the operational networking, which means if you have a problem to solve, like where do I get the best, cupcakes for my daughter's birthday party, you have someone you can call and get that solved. But the third one is the most important, and that's strategic networking. So how can you attend events where you'll meet people who are a little ahead of where you are, or at least on the same journey, so that you can compare notes and help each other go big? That's exactly what our $1 Million Women Summit is all about, is providing a place for high growth women to learn from each other, learn from experienced, successful women entrepreneurs, and go big together, which is our hashtag this year. So I would love to announce the winners before we get started. I'm not sure if Alyssa has the final count yet on who's won, but if she does, I'm sure she'll come in. We're lucky enough that we get to work together, usually with masks, but she's in the other room, so I don't have to wear my mask. And then I'm going to bring on Chanel. I can't wait. Let's see who else has joined us. Hi, Erin. Great to have you with us. All right, I hear the winners arriving. The winners of the social media competition, thank you, Alyssa, are our wonderful members of the $1 Million Women community, Rabia Shafi. Congratulations, Rabia. We also have Viola from Micah Goods. She won our Maya Award a couple years ago. Congratulations. We also have someone from @Perfect Tribe. I don't remember exactly who that is right now. And Ksenia, who is one of our masterclass grads. Thank you for posting, Ksenia. We loved all of your posts, and everyone who posted about the summit. Thank you so much. The winners are getting a free, almost $1,000 value sales cure do-it-yourself course so that they can learn to sell better, because that is a big part of scaling up. You cannot take the sale out of scale, as I always like to say. But now, without further ado, hey, John, thanks for joining us. Erin, can't wait to see you at the summit. Let me bring on Chanel. So excited to spend this time with you. Chanel, she has a podcast. She has a multi-million-dollar business based out in Texas. And she's going to tell us all about how she got there. And you're an artist. Oh, I'm so happy you have art in the frame.
Yes, I have to add my art in the background. I think it's so pretty, so I wanted to brighten up my frame.
You did. Yes, and we had our last call. You had this gorgeous art behind you, and I was like, "Who made that?" And you're like, "I did."
Yes, as if I don't have enough to do, right?
Right. Well, but it's different parts of the brain. Good for you. I think that is one thing that keeps entrepreneurs sane, is when they have something else they do, right? That's
Absolutely.
not just the business.
Absolutely. That's a part of it. Self-care is a huge part of being an entrepreneur.
100%. Yes. Is that one of your main self-care things that you do is painting?
Yes. I paint, I draw, I ride my bike. I'm an avid biker outdoors. But
I love that. Even in Texas? People ride bikes in Texas? I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. I live in a lake community, so I'm real blessed to have a beautiful environment to ride my bike in.
Oh my God, amazing. I'm in New York, which is big on bike riding, but I
Oh,
picture
yeah.
Texas, everybody in their cars. So thank you for educating me.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, let's dive in. I'm sure everyone wants to know how you came to have one of the top sales tax advisory businesses in the country. I think I saw, right? You won a bunch of awards. Maybe
Yes, in the
start a
country.
little bit with, how you became an entrepreneur and take us up to today, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. So, I come from an entrepreneurial, mindset from day one. Even as a kid, I would start little mini businesses. Majority of them made zero money, but I had just a mind for business, and I didn't know what entrepreneurship was until a cousin of mine, he was like an insurance agent, but he had his own independent, agency, and he worked from his home. That's the first time I was introduced to the term entrepreneur. And ever since then, I was fascinated with his lifestyle. He was like so dope, And I think I was like
What
12
appealed to you, like the independence, or what was it?
He worked from his home. He was pretty influential. He would invite us to, um, tennis tournaments where I met Tootie from the Facts of Life, like he just had all these amazing things going on.
That's my generation, honey. Tootie from the Facts of Life.
Right? Yeah. So,
You're too young for that.
I was born and raised in New Orleans, and I didn't have a whole lot of entrepreneurs in my life, but he was one of the first. And I just, from that point on, I just was on that journey of thinking about, starting businesses. And I think in college, I was very entrepreneurial. I started the student chapter of National Association of Black Accountants at my university. I went to a public university, but it was, majority white. And so my then boyfriend, my now husband, started the student chapter of that organization on campus. Again, entrepreneurial thinking, just, seeing a problem, seeing an issue. And the problem there was African American students were graduating with accounting degrees with not moving on to jobs. Like they weren't getting internships, they weren't getting jobs after college. And the program was really hard. Like we were like one of the top accounting programs in the country. And I'm like, this is crazy. We have to do something to fix this. So that's why we started NABA. And fast forward to my career today, again, my husband and I, both entrepreneurial thinking. We started our careers in public accounting. I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers. He worked for the Texas State Comptroller's Office as a sales tax auditor. So that's where the sales tax came in. Because before that, we never even heard of sales tax. But he kind of introduced us to the world of sales tax. And working for PricewaterhouseCoopers, we had an opportunity to bid on a contract with the state of Texas to be contract auditors. And we became contract auditors for the state of Texas and never looked back.
I love that story.
Yes.
But I'm curious, Chanel, why did you ever consider starting your own business like straight out of school? Because I think some people do wonder, should I go work for a big company or should I start my own business? And you're always so entrepreneurial. How did you make the decision to go work for PricewaterhouseCoopers instead of going directly to entrepreneurship?
Well, I was blessed that I was really one of the top students in accounting in my school. So I was very highly recruited. I was recruited by all of the top accounting firms in the country. And I picked PricewaterhouseCoopers in Dallas and moved to Dallas to pursue their career. In my mind, to be honest with you, was to become partner, the first African-American partner in the Dallas office. That was my goal.
That was the first idea.
That was my goal. Because again, I would have my own book of business. I would kind of have my own, strategy and goals and, that type of thing. Same, similar to entrepreneurship, but more intrapreneurship. When I realized that wasn't going to work, I moved on from that dream and we quickly started thinking about what type of businesses we can start for ourselves. We thought, maybe we can start do a nightclub or we can do like a daiquiri shop in Dallas, right? Because we're from New Orleans. Daiquiris.
Yeah, you could bring a little of the New Orleans fun to Dallas.
That was our process. We were like, we could do something New Orleans themed, but in Dallas. So
well, would you mind rewinding? Because so many people are reinventing right now, right? And realizing, like, I've talked to a lot of people who say, you know what, I don't like the way my company handled the pandemic. You know, they weren't as empathetic as I thought they would be about my home situation. And there are a lot of people looking for new jobs or deciding, you know what, I'm going to go out on my own. That's it. I'm going to start my own company. So will you help share just for a moment, what was it like when you made that big decision to leave PricewaterhouseCoopers, right? That's a big company, lots of security. Yes. Can you share that story?
Well, you know, when I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, I worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers first and became a team leader, you know, got promoted, and I left and went to Verizon for a little bit and did internal audit. But while I was at PricewaterhouseCoopers, I was always a person that was trying to lead within. I started like, you know, charity type, you know, drives to support Dress for Success. Nobody was doing that. You know, my peers weren't starting clothing drives. And it's interesting because I do that now with my firm. We have a clothing drive every year. But, you know, just whispers of who I was going to be later in life, it happened really early. You know, I was the person, you know, going in to pitch ideas to the partners. I was really like in my own universe.
I bet people who knew you were not surprised when you left and started your own company. But was there like a moment? Like, did something go wrong? Or did you just like have a big birthday and decide, you know what, it's time, I need to have my own firm? Like, what happened?
I mean, when I realized that partnership was not on the radar for me at the firm, it just was not. And they make it pretty clear who's going to be partner and who's not. I mean, there is no secret. They make it pretty obvious. When I realized that that wasn't in my plans, I had no intention on staying there, you know, because I'm a leader. That's just who I am.
And you know what? This is how so many great entrepreneurs get started, right? Like, if the company doesn't have a place for leaders, then you say, okay, I'm going to go lead on my own. So
yeah, I didn't want to go be a senior manager for the rest of my life. I didn't want to be a director, which is like a baby partner. I was like, I don't want any of that. Like, if I'm not a partner, I'm out of here. I mean, that's just my personality, right? And
I'm with you. I'm with you. And interestingly, the statistics show that this is not an untypical story, because the fastest growing group of entrepreneurs is Black women, right? And that never surprised me, because if you're underestimated, overlooked, not given opportunities, why are you going to stick around and have your brilliance tamped down somewhere when you can go make it on your own?
Yeah, and you know, just the brightest, the shiniest, you know, projects internally weren't going to me. I had to fight for the best projects. It was an uphill battle, and I was like, you know, I have a talent and I have a fire inside of me. In fact, I tried to start employee resource groups at Price. I was really on my stuff. I tried to change. You know, it's really my personality. I was trying to change PricewaterhouseCoopers
from within. From within.
I was trying to get them to be the organization I wanted them to be, and they weren't ready for that. So
I'm sure that's resonating with a lot of people right now. We have a lot of women in our community who had like 20, 30 years in corporate America and finally decided, you know what, I'm going to just go create it if they don't want to make it happen. So, but I want to take us forward.
Well,
so then you started the business. Go ahead.
I want to make one comment.
Go, please.
No knock against PricewaterhouseCoopers. They were exactly what I needed at the time. They taught me so much about being in business for myself, so much about being an entrepreneur in my thinking, so much about client service and excellence in that regard. So no knock against them. But however, a lesson to women out there: if it doesn't fit, you can't force it.
100%. And just go out on your own and make it happen, even if you're not sure what all those steps are. And if people are just joining us, I have with me Chanel Christoff-Davis. She runs a multi-million-dollar company out in Dallas that works on sales tax advisory. We're going to hear about that in a minute, but we're just hearing about her journey out of corporate America and into entrepreneurship, or back to entrepreneurship, given that you started doing that as a young girl. So yeah, tell us how you built the business, since our whole community is women scaling up. A lot of women with services businesses, a lot of women who start like a little accounting firm and then it's hard to scale it. So like, what did you do differently?
So I would have to say that I was a late bloomer in entrepreneurship, because we did government contracting for so long. We did government contracting for the first 8 or 9 years, and it was state government contracting. And that kind of siloed us a bit. We couldn't kind of serve two groups of people. You can't work for the state of Texas and then turn around and fight against the state of Texas, right? It doesn't really
That
work
wouldn't
like
work.
that. It doesn't work like that. So we were
You
kind
had
of
to
late.
pick.
Yeah, you have to pick one side. So we were kind of late bloomers in that. We did government contracting for about 8 or 9 years. And then when we decided, okay, enough of this, we're not going to do government work anymore, because we were literally helping companies while we were there supposed to be auditing them. We were there trying to help them fix their accounting systems and try to explain to them what they got wrong. And if you just tweak this in QuickBooks, it will calculate your sales tax.
Oh.
Like, we were already doing it, right? But
I love it. That was your hint. You're like, maybe we need to go over the other side. Maybe we like
yeah,
that better.
we felt so bad for companies. They didn't have the resources internally. They didn't even know why they were being audited. They were so confused. So we would literally go in and consult with them and explain to them, like, like this audit is going to hurt. This was going to hurt. But if you fix these things,
people fear audits like they fear root canals, right? It's that's like the worst thing when you know you're going to get audited. So I'm sure they were eager for your help and advice.
We told them this audit bill is going to hurt you. It's going to sting. But if you fix these things, the next time you're audited, it should go better. So we were already doing it, right? So we just pivoted.
And who's the we, Chanel? Is this you and your husband, or who's the
my
we?
husband and I. My husband and I.
You're in business together. Got it.
We were co-founders. We started the business together. We worked together every single day. If you can imagine, we grab our lunch pail and get in the car together and ride to our clients and our audits.
Wow, that's amazing. That's a whole other Instagram live we could do right there.
That's another episode. But
that's amazing.
The whole time we were doing that, I had a vision. I could see, like, literally, I could visualize our office. I could see our name on the wall. I can see our offices lined against the windows. I can see staff in the other room. I can see a reception. I saw it all. I can visualize it.
Have you always been a big visualizer? Because you're an artist, so maybe that's like one of your superpowers.
Yes. I can envision where I'm heading with something. And so when I had that vision locked in my head, I knew that we had to pivot and start to service clients directly. So we did that. Now we're B2B. We service companies in all 50 states. We work with companies like, AT&T and Vistra, Microsoft, and, the biggest, largest Fortune 500 companies you can name. We help them with their sales tax issues. Even internationally, we have projects going now in South America, in Japan, and China. And
that's so amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that you identified this very specific problem that a lot of companies had, and it allows you to market in a very targeted way. Because we're always saying in our community, we're problem solvers. That's all you are. If you ever get confused, what should I be doing every day? How do I grow? What problem are you solving? How can you solve it better? So your company is so clear on that.
Yes, and so that gives us our why, right? That gives us our customer. We're very clear on our customer. But my why was very different. My why was
What's your why?
My why was really to create the world that I wanted to live in. I wanted to be in an environment where I can wake up every day and be entrepreneurial. I can, chart my future. I can provide opportunities for marginalized communities, people who can't get access to this career. We can train the future generations of African American and brown CPAs and accountants who want to be in our industry. I'm in a privileged position to be able to offer this opportunity to other people. That I take that very seriously, and I'm very proud of that. So those are my whys.
And you and I met through Brittany, who's a mentor in our community, and I'm so grateful to her for introducing us. Do you two talk about your mentorship? Is that something that you bond over? Because I know she's a very devoted mentor.
Brittany and I, we have gotten so close during the pandemic. It's so funny. We actually think a lot alike. We ideate a lot. Our brains kind of work the same. We make a joke that if we were co-CEOs, like, we would be in trouble. We would be like, you need that yin and the yang, right? You need that fire and that passion that we have, but you also need that balance to be like, okay, it's not going to happen today, but let's come up with a plan and we're going to get there. So
amen. And those of us who don't have business partners have people on our team to do that for us. So I totally get that. My operations manager is laughing right now because that's what she does for me.
Because if it's left up to the fire, right? We're the fire part of the brand. If it's left up to us, oh my God, it would be a disaster, right? So God sends you people to balance you and to keep you
Yes.
kind of like, okay, yeah, that didn't go exactly the way you wanted it to, but that's okay. This is the plan. We're still on our plan. I'm like, okay, but so we're fiery spirits, put it that way.
Well,
So
we can't wait to hear from Brittany at our summit. And, I would be, which is just in a couple of days, but I'd be curious, Chanel, when you're mentoring, what are you seeing out there when you're mentoring? And you mentioned specifically Black and brown people looking to go into finance. What kind of help are you giving usually? Like, are you doing the same kind of mentoring over and over again? Or are you seeing all different problems?
I use the same, I see the same mentorship, same points. I mean, so much so that I've written them down that I have to coach women around over and over and over again. One, African-American women, brown women, women of color tend to want to go it alone. We are self-starters and we're not used to asking for help. And I'm here to tell you today that if you take that position, you're not going to be a successful entrepreneur. You may be a solopreneur, which that's not a bad thing. To be able to provide for your own economy and take care of yourself is amazing.
Right, but it's going to be hard to grow, and it's certainly going to be hard to get to 1 million, which is what we're all about.
But to scale and to grow your business, you cannot go it alone. It's impossible. So I have tapped into advocacy groups. I have sought out several different training programs to give me executive leadership training, entrepreneurship training. I have kind of built a cadre of women who mentor me and men who mentor me. I'm saying all that to say I'm no stranger to asking for help. I will pick up a phone on a Monday morning and talk to someone and run down my list of things that's challenging me. You have to ask for help. That's the number one thing
that is such an important one. And let's not forget, you're also a public speaker, right?
Yes.
You do public speaking and you have a podcast. So are those some things where when you started out, you didn't exactly know how to do them and you had to get some help?
Absolutely. One of the things I did really early on for my public speaking is to get help. I had someone to come in as a consultant who could kind of position me properly to, get opportunities. I've spoken for the AICPA. I've gone to Disney World. I've spoken there. I've spoken for Women's Business Council. I mean, so many different organizations. But again, I asked for help. Like, my background is accounting. Okay, I'm a tax expert. You cannot be an expert in everything that you want to do. You can't be an expert in every different genre of business. So I'm a big advocate and proponent of asking those who've done it before, or people who are in a position that I can, hire to help position me to reach my goals. Absolutely.
I agree 100%. And yet sometimes people don't have that person to ask, right? Which is part of why we do things like the $1 Million Women Summit, so that they can get in front of people, like Brittany, like yourself, like Cameron Cruz and some of our other speakers, and make those relationships, right? Because not everybody knows who to pick up the phone and call.
Absolutely, which is why your program is so important. Your program is a different, version of advocacy, right? It's a mentoring kind of bubble or hub to help women to get to the next level and scale. These are the opportunities I sought out very early on. Probably not as early as I should have, but I got caught.
We all feel that way. If only I'd done that 5 years before, right?
Right.
But thank you. So what else? So you said that's one thing you're seeing is like people need to learn how to ask for help. Are there a couple other things you're seeing when you mentor? Because I'm sure it would resonate with people watching who might be, climbing some of those same hills.
Yeah. The second thing I hear a lot is, women who are in my age bracket. I'm Gen X. They often come to me and they're enamored of the fact that I can get on and do this with you. They're like, I watch you, and how do you do that? How are you on social sharing yourself the way that you do? And aren't you nervous? And, what's the feedback you're getting from your peers? I see you and I'm so proud of what you're doing, but I can't do that. I can't, be the public face of my business. And I would have to say, and it's a couple
And
reasons.
why not? Why do you think they can't?
There's a couple reasons. One, humble. They're really raised to not put their brilliance in front. They're not supposed to. That they're supposed to kind of be, modest. right? Or they're shy. They're not used to being public speakers and putting their stuff out there. They think that their logo and their company website is enough. And that they put their credentials out there, the business will come. And what I have to mentor them around is that, shy, modest money is broke money. So you can be shy and hide
don't
behind
sugarcoat that, Chanel. Don't sugarcoat it.
I mean, listen, you can be shy and, keep posting your logo on your social. No one's going to connect to that. No one cares. People do business with people who they know and who they like all day,
100%.
every day.
Right.
But
they want to know who's behind the company. Yeah, I can't believe it when I go to people's websites and I click on about and it says like, we provide great services, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, but who are you? Who is behind this company? Yeah, that's what needs to be an about.
Who are you? It's more important that you lead with, your expertise, your knowledge. You also need to lead with authenticity. People want to, because they kind of feel like it's a scam. If I do all this searching for you and I can't figure out who you are and what you're about, what causes you support, they kind of feel like they may be scammed.
100%. And there are scams, right? There are scams on the internet. So they're not crazy. There are things where you do your digging and find out, oh, this isn't even really a real company. We don't want to be confused with that.
Right. So you almost have to reverse engineer the situation. The same amount of work you do to research a brand, do that same amount of work to research your brand. If you come back feeling skeptical about it because you can't find any information about the owner or the people who are behind the brand, that's a problem. You need to fix it.
Well, you're also talking about building your personal brand, right? A lot of women start a company and say, well, I provide top level products and services. So why do I also need to talk about myself? Right. And that's where the personal brand comes in. I was so impressed when I went to your website. And it's like, not only can I see that you're amazing at helping companies with sales tax issues, but I can download your speaker kit. I can read about your podcast. Like, it makes someone want to work with you because there's clearly, a real person who you're excited to engage with.
And there's some thought behind it. There's some strategy behind it. People really confuse, really early stage entrepreneurs confuse, their business brand with their personal brand. It's two separate things. I like the fact that you put all the time in picking the perfect colors and, hiring a graphic artist to come up with a cute symbol. All that's important. But if people don't know who you are and what you stand for and what's the heart behind the brand, they're not going to buy. They're just not.
So right. Yes. All right. I'm dying for the third thing. So the three things you see a lot, I'm going to recap, especially if people are just joining us. I'm talking to Chanel Christoff-Davis, and we're talking about when she mentors, what are the three problems she sees the most often? And one is not asking for help, thinking I have to do it all on my own. As entrepreneurs, we can be very like, I'll just tackle it. I'll take more on. But in fact, when we're scaling, we have to learn how to ask for help. The second thing is to make sure that you share who you are as a person. What's your personal brand, not just the company brand, and to really work on that side of the business, how you show up online and in the world, I'm sure. Okay, what's the third one? I can't wait.
The third one, a lot of people won't like the third one, but I would be remiss if I didn't bring it up because I am a tax and accounting and a numbers girl. You have to know your numbers.
Yes.
You have to be able to speak about money. Yes. You have to be able to speak about money.
You do.
As if you're talking about, the air. If you go in front of a banker and you can't explain your financials, if you don't even know what your financials are, you're not going to be successful. And we've seen that so, vividly through this crisis with people wanting to apply for the PPP and the EIDL and literally did not know how to pull the requisite records together to apply for these. I felt heartbroken. I was
or whether their income was up or down, right? Because if you're not tracking your income, I know one of the requisites for the PPP, which we got, was like, are you making 25% less than you made last year? Well, guess what? If you don't know how much you made last year, how do you know if you're making 25% less or more?
Fatal mistake.
Yeah.
Like, don't even think about scaling to 1 million if you can't, if you're not tracking your income and your expenses. That needs to be your first priority, and there's so many resources for women and entrepreneurs to get a handle on this. There's an organization called SCORE. There is
mentors, free mentors.
Mentors. I mean, they will literally walk you through how to set up your accounting, how to understand your numbers, how to analyze it. You have to be able to do that foundational piece in order to be successful. How do you even know if what you're doing is a success. You could be on this huge marketing tour, push and branding and all this good stuff, and not making any money.
Right? Well, I love this that you're sharing this, and it's not just because you're a numbers person, because, you know, we talk about this all the time in our community. And one thing we like to say is the numbers don't lie. We sometimes tell ourselves stories about what's working in our business, and the story usually sounds like this: I love doing this, so I'm going to keep doing it. But you're not looking at your margins. You're not looking at what it, you know, costs you to market for it. And the next thing you know, right, you're spending all this money and it's not coming back in, and you're not profitable, and you can't scale, and you're exhausted. So is this what you're seeing happen sometimes?
Absolutely. You're spinning your wheels. You're saying entrepreneurship is not for me. I'm exhausted. I've done X, Y, Z, and
I'm not making enough money. It's not worth it.
I'm not making enough money. And listen, if it doesn't make money, it makes no sense. Okay. Like, why are we doing
this? This is not a hobby. This is not a hobby. Nonprofit. No, you can be successful and then start a nonprofit, right? We did that in $1 Million Women. We have a nonprofit to help women of color entrepreneurs called the $1 Million Women Fund. But, you know, we keep it very separate because we have to make sure that everything we do is profitable and scalable and has good margins, just like we teach our women to. So did you learn that in your studies? Like, were you an econ finance major, or where did you learn it?
Well, my degree was in accounting, and my first career was auditing some of the largest corporations in America. I mean, I audited huge technology firms and, you know, Fortune 500 companies. Boy Scouts of America was my client. So I had to go.
Wow, you've seen the good, bad, and the ugly, I bet.
I've seen it all. I've seen it all. And you talk about accounting for a for-profit. Don't even talk about accounting for a nonprofit. They have to track times 10 because you're having to report this to the federal government. The money that you're receiving from people is donations. They are very serious about that. So there's no way, there's no exit getting, you know, comfortable with your numbers. There's no way around it. Even if you're a nonprofit, you have to know your numbers. So that's number 3. And people may not like that, but listen, you have to get that intimate with it. And I've met people who've been in business 20, 30 years, and they don't even know what an expense is. And I'm like, how is this possible? But it happens.
But you know what? It is a language, Chanel, in the sense that I say to women, look, you don't have to be fluent in your finances, but you have to be conversational. Right? Yes. Because like when I went out to raise venture capital, I raised about 6 million. You know, I was a filmmaker. I had a background as a creative. I had not had that kind of training like you had in the numbers. I was terrified and I didn't want to do it. But I realized pretty quickly, and I used to run a language teaching company, that I only had to be conversational. Like when they said, well, tell me about this raise. Are there warrants? Are there discounts? Is it 1x liquidation preference or 2x liquidation preference? I couldn't be deer in the headlights, right? I couldn't go Google that in real time. Like, you got to be conversational. And that's true of everything in finance.
In fact, the bankers and the finance people are going to throw those questions at you because they want to see your eyes glaze over. That's a trick. It's a trick. It's a setup. So
right. If they say, did you bring your P&L? And you're not sure like, what that means, you're done. It's finished right there.
It's it. The meeting's over. So imagine how powerful I feel as a woman walking into a business meeting or a meeting with a banker, and I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. Bring me your underwriter because you don't understand my numbers. I need to talk to the underwriter. I'll explain it directly to them and let me know what the problem is. You know, so I can be aggressive about that because I know my numbers.
I love that. That must feel so good.
Yes, it's very important.
But you know what? It's an ongoing journey, though, because I'll say, like, we were just setting up ACH collections in our company, and I got on the phone with the bank yesterday, and the woman, my bank, and she kept using this term I'd never heard of. I had to go Google it, and she wouldn't even explain it because I do think sometimes people who work in finance, they're just like, well, it's on you to figure it out. You know, what does she call it? Origination something. You probably know that term.
Origination fees.
Something like that. Because I just kept saying to her, we're trying to take ACH from our clients. Like I was speaking normal people language, right? And she kept saying like origination, blah, blah, blah. Finally, I just Googled it while I was on the phone with her. But just all that to say that if anybody watching is feeling like, oh, I don't know my P&L, I don't know my language, that's okay. Like you can start today. And learn all that stuff in an hour, in 2 hours. One of my one-on-one coaching clients, we were doing Excel for her projections. And she was like, oh, I skipped all those Excel classes in college. And I was like, well, then go learn it now. I just gave her the homework, take a 1-hour Excel course. And she did. And now she can do her projections, right? None of this stuff is rocket science, at least at our level. At your level, it kind of is rocket science. But
no,
we don't all have to do it. at
You
that level.
stated two very powerful tools. Google, like you can Google a lot of this. They can throw 10 million terms at you. Google is for everybody and it's free. So, bankers may throw things at you to kind of throw you off tilt. Just Google it. And I promise
100%,
you.
right? Yes. At least
Yes.
everything now is remote, so they don't know you're Googling it.
Yes.
It used to be sitting in front of them, then you really couldn't Google it. And Chanel, I could talk to you for 5 hours. I love this, but we're going to have to wrap up. Maybe you could give us a little sense of where you're going with the company and how we can find you, and any tips for, women entrepreneurs following in your footsteps. Maybe we'll start with the tips, and then, like, where can we find you and where are you going next?
So my tips for women entrepreneurs are, really be bold, lean into, being your authentic self. Don't feel like you have to hide behind your brand. Gone are the days that women are building, solopreneur businesses, which is, if that's your goal, that's beautiful. But women are also wanting to scale and build enterprises. And there's absolutely room for you to be able to accomplish that goal. So, it's very important for you to lean into your network. If your network doesn't look like the women that you want to be, you need to change your network. There's nothing wrong with that either. Or add, how about that? Amend and add to your network. Yes. That's important to be surrounded by people who are like-minded.
That was the go big tip today, right? Embrace intentional networking, 100%.
Yes, and lean into networks like yours, Julia. I mean, it's important. You see these platforms and people like you who are providing these opportunities, take advantage, because, information sometimes is all around you, but you don't know where to begin. It's overwhelming. So for you, packaging it in a nice, beautiful way, I mean, bravo to you for doing this for women.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. So
the tips. So, all right. So go build a big business and be bold. We love that. Go ask for the help and join the networks. Any one other thing that you find yourself telling your mentees? Obviously, know your numbers.
Know your numbers, and, lean into platforms like LinkedIn. If I go to your LinkedIn page and I see an egg for a profile picture, I click off and move on. Like, we have to do better. Like, let's go ahead and lean in and build out a beautiful profile so people can get to know who you are.
I love that. And please go check out Chanel's profile on LinkedIn. She's made it really beautiful, and there's a lot you could borrow from there, right? Because we don't even have to invent all these things. We can just go look at people whose stuff we like and try to do that, right? You don't have to reinvent all this.
That's a great tip. Look at people in your industry and pick up tips and clues from them. That's a great
100%.
tip.
All right. Where are you going next, and how can we go on the journey with you?
So one of the things I'm very proud of is my podcast, Follow the Leader. I'm in my 4th year of production for my podcast, and I interview women from all walks of life, leaders, corporate leaders, thought leaders, CEOs. And this season is really focused on entrepreneurial joy and self-care. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, because 2020 was a bear, right? It was a bear. But now we're going to turn the corner and focus on entrepreneur. The reason why we started this to begin with, all right? Let's remember why we wanted to start our own business. So that's the focus this year. I'm excited about the guests.
Oh, I'm sure lots of people are going to want to check that out. And maybe, Alyssa, you could put it in the chat. So it's the Follow the Leader podcast. I did watch or listen to one episode, and I loved it. And I think I'm going to be on. I forget when we decided, but at some point, Julia, I can't wait for that conversation.
Julia will be on with me. And a couple things for our business. We are continuing to form strategic alliances with different people in the industry. So again, partnership, right? You can't build a bridge alone. You need partners. So that's a big part of our 2021, leading to larger international projects for my firm. In addition, we're going to launch a series of sales tax courses that's going to be online and on demand, to help companies who are entrepreneurial, starting out, and you don't understand sales tax. You're confused. You don't even know what is sales tax and how does it impact my business. So we're going to do a sales tax one-on-one series for people who are e-sellers, as well as people who are just starting out in business.
That is so important. And a lot of women in our community were local before the pandemic hit, and now they went national. So I think we'll have a lot of questions about that. Where do I have to collect sales tax? Do I have to report in all these different states where I'm selling? I'm sure you could talk for 3 hours about that, but I'm excited that you're creating those courses so people can get at that information.
Yeah, we want to help.
Yeah.
We want to help people before they get in trouble. We don't want you to get in trouble. So that's why
well, you seem like the perfect person to do that, because you've seen all the mistakes people made, right? You're not just guessing at this. You've actually seen it happen, and you're an entrepreneur yourself. So you know what it feels like to be just trying to run your business. And in the meanwhile, you have to make sure you cross all these T's and dot all these I's.
Absolutely.
Or you're going to get in big trouble, right?
Absolutely.
So thank you for what you're doing to help entrepreneurs not get in trouble with the IRS, and also, learn these important skills, many of them from someone who looks like them, right? Because that hasn't always been the case. So thank you for leading in all the ways that you are, and
Absolutely.
sharing your greatness with us today, and your beautiful artwork. Maybe you could just pull that forward a minute. We want to appreciate the fullness. Oh, so beautiful. What can you tell us about that?
So this is a painting I painted for my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta sorority. We're one of the oldest collegiate sororities in the country, and our focus is public service to all mankind. And so I painted this in dedication of my sorority, Delta Sigma Theta.
That is so beautiful. I love it. It's gorgeous, really gorgeous. Well, you are certainly fulfilling on that and your dedication to service and helping others. And we're so happy you came to share these great tips with us today. And I will see you hopefully at the summit. I hope you'll tune in to watch Brittany, if not a whole lot more.
Yes, I want to see my girl, Brittany.
Awesome. She's going to rock it. We can't wait. And she's already beloved by our women because she's mentored a bunch of them. So, there's no way it could be anything but awesome. But thank you so much, Chanel. I will see you soon on Follow the Leader. And I'll also see you Thursday and Friday at the summit. Thanks again for joining.
Bye.
Bye. Wow, those were such great tips from Chanel, and so in line with all the things that we're teaching at Million Dollar Women. The reason we have our summit is that we know women across the country are trying to build their businesses, take care of their families, sometimes taking care of aging parents at the same time. They don't always have time to go find who are the experts I need to learn from. So we're bringing all those experts straight to you in this 2-day summit. It's Thursday and Friday this week. Go to mdwsummit.org to check it out. And we will see you there. We can't wait. More great learning on the way. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you, Chanel. Thank you, Brittany. And thank you all for joining us. See you at the summit.